Hello everyone, welcome to my naked desk and to this video where I will try to recreate one of your drawings. It seems like a lot of you guys liked that idea when I suggested it, so here we go. I will make the drawing on this Coast16, which is a brand new drawing monitor from Parblo. It was sent to me for free to try out and to review. I'm not sponsored or anything, and all I say will be my own and honest opinion, as usual. So before we get into the drawing portion of this video, let's do a really quick unboxing. So here's the tablet without any kind of protection on the screen itself in the box, but it looks like it's doing fine anyway. Then we're back on my nicer desk background again, and we have these boxes. The small one has a case with a stylus, which is battery free with an eraser button thing on the top. It only has one side button though, and it's not raised, so I know I will accidentally push this when I'm drawing. In the case, there is also some spare pen nibs and a tool to replace the nibs with. In the second box we have the cords to connect the tablet to the computer, so yes, you will need a computer to use this. I get so many questions about that. This is like a computer monitor that you draw on, and it has no touch features or anything, you can only use the pen on it. And a glove to make my hand glide smoothly over the screen when I draw, but as usual it is a little too big for me, but I do appreciate that they send one. So the tablet has a 15.6-inch screen, which is matte, so it will prevent glares and reflections. You can still see my goofy face in there though. And just removing it from the box, I managed to put like 1 million fingerprints on it. It has a bunch of shortcut keys and a scrolling ring, and some menu buttons to adjust brightness and colors and stuff. And on the back we have something that made me happy, and it is these guys. It is little legs that you can fold out like a stand. The other Parblo drawing monitors that I've tried in the past didn't come with any kinds of stands, so I had to put books underneath to tilt them towards me so that I didn't have to lean over them and get neck pain and stuff, so this is a big improvement in my opinion. These legs are not adjustable though, so if you want to have the option to change to a lower or a higher angle, Parblo also has this stand. It is sold separately, so it's not included with this tablet, but I guess you can use this with any kinds of tablets really, as long as it is thin enough to fit in the holder on the bottom, but it seems like it is quite flexible. Also, I got this little sticker sheet, and this is pure gold. Look at this. Good morning, stud. Alright, so let's start drawing something, and then I will return to the review part of this tablet closer to the end. So the artwork I chose to try to recreate today is from Mekachi, and I hope I pronounced that right. And the reason I chose this one is because not only does it look amazing and there is so much stuff going on in there, it is also made digitally, so I thought it was fitting to redraw it digitally too. And they also described it as a pastel witch, so I'm sold. Honestly, I actually didn't notice it was a witch when I picked it, but it seems like even my subconscious thinks that I should draw witches for my tablet reviews. And I also want to say that my intention is not to try to make the art better or try to improve it in any way or critique it or anything like that. I just want to see how I interpret the art and what it will look like in my style. It is like a collaboration between you guys and myself, and I'm really loving it so far. There are so many of you that have submitted your art for me to redraw, and I feel so inspired when I look through your work. So I was thinking that perhaps I could turn this into a series if you would like to. I think it would be a super fun way to interact and collaborate with you guys, my viewers. So if you would like to see more like this, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and maybe leave a comment, just so I will know that you enjoy it and like the idea. And if this will turn into a series, and if you have art that you would like to see me redraw in a video, post your art on either Instagram or Twitter and use the hashtag draw this Kattvalk so I can find it. It can be any kind of art really, it doesn't have to be a masterpiece or super advanced, it can just be a sketch that you want me to finish. The only criteria that I have is that it has to be your own art, obviously. So let's talk about what is going on the screen here. I am really fascinated by this witch because it also really reminds me of a pirate with the hat and the hairband and the puffy shirt and the corset, and she's also holding a scythe, I believe. She has two scarves around her waist with potions and gemstones, and one of the most interesting things to me is what looks to be light chains that are flowing around her skirt. I would never have come up with this idea myself, and that is why I think it is so fun to be able to borrow some of your ideas and try them out myself. So this time I chose to follow the original more closely and try to bring over all the details to my own drawing, because as I said, there is so much stuff that makes this so unique. What I was struggling the most with in the beginning was trying to come up with a pose, because I still don't want to copy it straight off. I do really love the flow in the original though, so I ended up with a generic straightforward pose, kind of similar to the original but still a little different. Honestly, I think mine turned out a little stiffer. She's holding the scythe and now also a potion bottle in her hands, and let's talk about those hands for a moment. I made them on the first try almost, and I'm really proud of how they turned out because I usually really suck at drawing hands, but this one turned out pretty great I think, so I'm learning. I wasn't really sure what to make with the light chains, so I put them in the background at the end just so you don't think I forgot about them. I am really loving all the pastel tones in the original. The teal and the purple look so great together. I toned down the colors in my piece a little just because I wanted to try out a softer look, because I tend to sometimes go overboard with the coloring when I draw digitally, so I'm just experimenting a little. So let's talk a little about my user experience with this tablet. After installing the driver, I ran into my first problem, and there is always some kind of problem. The screen mapping. I normally have two screens, my computer monitor and my laptop screen, so this drawing tablet would be the third screen and the one I want to draw on, obviously. But even if I chose monitor free for the tablet, as soon as I moved the pen over the tablet screen, the cursor was moving on my laptop screen instead, which is monitor 2. So after a little bit of struggling, I temporarily solved it by closing my laptop screen, and then I could draw on the tablet. I've told Parblo about this problem and they are apparently working on it. Also have in mind that this is a brand new product, it hasn't been released yet when I'm filming this, and that is also why they want this review, to be able to make it better. And one more thing that bothered me a little is the stylus. It is okay, it is quite comfortable, but I really don't like that the button on the side is completely flat. The pen is round, so it moves around in my hand, so just as I predicted, I accidentally pushed the button and interrupt myself while I'm drawing, and it gets quite annoying after a while, to be honest. Also, why not two side buttons? And I think a more ergonomic grip would be to prefer. The pen feels a little too cheapish for this kind of tablet. But besides that, I didn't have that much trouble with this tablet, thankfully. I honestly really enjoyed it. What I did love was the pen pressure sensitivity, which is 8192 levels, and it is like 4 times as much as the previous Parblo tablets that I tried. You really notice the difference, and you can go from a super thin line to a super thick just in one stroke. It feels very accurate too. The cursor follows the pen without any kind of delay, and it feels natural to draw with, not wonky or anything. And I really like that you can set the colors and the brightness and the contrast and so on for the monitor, so you can sort of make it match your main screen. It isn't the perfect match between my screens, but it is very close when you see the image on my computer screen and then on the tablet monitor. I also like that there is a very high viewing angle, which means that I can lean back in my chair while drawing and still be able to see the colors properly without the screen looking darker. Also, the separate stand is great. It may be a little clumsy when you fold it together, but I like that there is very small jumps between the steps so that you can adjust it to whatever angle that you like. I didn't use the built-in stand on the tablet since I felt the angle was a bit too low for my liking. I've had some trouble with my neck lately, so I prefer to have a higher angle at the moment, but yeah, the stand is great. So in conclusion, is this an affordable tablet and can I recommend it? The software is still a little under construction kind of. Not being able to use all my screens while I have the tablet connected is the biggest downside for me, but as I said, Parblo knows about it and they told me that they are working on solving the problem. The user experience though is still great. I really enjoyed working with it. It feels professional and sturdy, and if you like using the shortcut keys, this tablet has a lot of them. And when it comes to affordability, I do actually think that this may be the most affordable of all the tablets I've tried so far. It may not be the cheapest one, but it is still cheaper than Huion's 15-inch tablet that is very similar to this one. And even if they have the same levels of pressure sensitivity and they are about the same size and everything, I think I do prefer this one. Overall, the screen feels a lot brighter and it has a better viewing angle and it is less glitchy. The Huion tablet makes weird things happen to my keyboard. So yes, I can really recommend this, and I know I recommended all the tablets that I've reviewed so far, but I did honestly like all of them, and I also believe they all have different features that different people might like, but this one, as I said, is my current favorite. I think that one of my favorite things in my own drawing is how the skirt turned out. I like how the light falls on it and the shading and all the ruffles. And I noticed afterwards though that one of the puffed sleeves turned out a bit smaller than the other ones, but oh well, I'm not gonna change that now. I noticed that there is a little bit of glow around the character in the original, so I added that to mine too. It makes her stand out a little from the background and it gives her a more magical feeling. So thanks Mekachi for letting me redraw your art in this video, and I hope you like my interpretation of it. I am really happy with how this turned out, even though now afterwards I kinda wish I've gone a little more crazy with the coloring, but I do also like this softer color scheme. Thanks Parblo for sending me this tablet to try out, and thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you're new here and click on that little bell icon to get notified whenever I post new art and videos. Keep drawing my happy cat. Bye!